In 2023 and 2024, Love Dad partnered with community-based organizations across Los Angeles County to pilot the first system of care for identifying, referring, and treating new fathers for mental health challenges. Jill Blanks, a supervisor at the Antelope Valley Partners for Health, shares how she and other supervisors in her organization supported home visitors in building confidence to engage fathers and serve the whole family.
We really worked with our staff to just continually talk about dads because we think about home visiting programs so much from a mom and baby perspective. So we really had to open that up. And a lot of times people didn't feel confident. Well, what questions do I ask dads? What do I do? Or where would I refer them? Like, well, what questions do you ask mom? Ask dads the same questions. What's your birth story? Right? We ask moms what their birth story is. Ask dad what their birth story is. What was it like for them? What's on your mind about your baby? What worries you most about your family right now? What are you noticing about your baby? So you can really ask those questions. And we began to really do a lot of deeper work at what kinds of questions and building people's confidence and talking about that in individual reflective supervision as well as group supervision. And some of that was just really being able to get honest about. Some people would say, well, I did this job because I wanted to work with moms. And so now they're including dads and might not really want to. And so what does that mean? Or people that would say, well, I didn't have a good relationship with my dad, or my dad wasn't in my life. And so then how might that get in the way? And, how do you open yourself up then to be more inclusive of dads? And even though Healthy Families America was our pilot project with Love Dad, we also carried this over into our Welcome Baby program. And we developed, like, what can we do? What specific actions are we going to do? So that began to shift all different roles in our home visiting staff. Even people who were meeting bedside with families just after they'd had their baby, they were talking with dads also about the importance of skin to skin. And often they were like, really? And they're like, yeah. And dads would like rip up, not rip off their shirts, but they'd like take off their shirts and start doing skin to skin. And they were, educating dads right along with everyone else. So important. Or asking dads, do they know that they have a superpower that's different than moms? And many of them would be like, no, what's my superpower? And so we would say it's like your voice box. So when you hold your baby close up in your neck and you hum, your deeper voice is really soothing to the baby. And, they'd begin to do that. So it really started to develop a lot more confidence in people, in our staff, to be able to talk about the challenges. Right. I had one home visitor, she shared when she was doing the PHQ and GAD-7 with the mom. She then was talking about it and she said, dads experience postpartum mood disorders as well. And the dad looked at her and said, I'm so glad you said that. I think that I'm experiencing depression, he said. And he began to talk about it. He was a first-time dad where his wife, who'd had the baby, was a second-time mom. And so right as she began to listen to him, she said, I had no idea that you were experiencing that. So it opened that up. My hope is that we won't have maternal or paternal programs. We will have family programs so that either or both parent can participate. And families come in all different shapes and forms, right? Sometimes same-sex parents. And then it still means there's two parents. And so that's my hope for our future, is that we'll really begin to look at that and have materials that include all those different kinds of families, right? That it won't just be pictures of moms and babies, but that it will also include a whole group, and sometimes it's grandpa or it's uncle, and they're together and they're helping to co-raise a child. So those are some of my hopes for the future.